Thank you, Adam. So I'm Josh. I'm CTO here at LabKey. And yeah, wanted to talk about what we're planning more on the infrastructure and architecture side of our solutions and product base going forward. So as you've heard from Michael at the beginning, we've been at this for a while. We're about 20 years in. I'm here just a little over 19 years myself. And a lot has changed. So, things that we selected, that made sense given the technologies available to us at the time, or given our understanding of the solution that people needed, the use case that they were looking for, that is not necessarily the same today as it was 20 years ago. And so what a big part of my role here as CTO is to kind of across the whole engineering organization, make sure that the team is looking at, what solutions we have in place right now, what is available today, and, if we were starting from scratch, what approach might we take? But of course, we've got a lot of great things we've developed over the past 20 years that people are relying on day in and day out to manage their data. And so it's always trying to balance these things between, okay, what's a new thing that could provide value now versus what are the things that we're doing already that are providing value, and how do we have that mesh going forward. And all of this is in service of our current customers, our potential customers. We're not here just to create new cool software things that no one actually cares about or uses in the real world. This is all very much informed by the things that you're looking to do day in and day out. So Anna mentioned a couple of these things in his talk, but one thing that we're doing quite a bit of effort in, say, this past year and upcoming year, and it's really, because part of a long-standing tradition throughout our history is looking for ways to simplify our technology matrix. So we've accumulated a lot of things, and a lot of libraries and tools and so forth in our history, and some of those are still serving us very, very well. Others, we've got an opportunity to simplify and consolidate and provide better benefits by being in that simpler world. So for those who have an on-premise deployment, that in 24.3 and beyond, we switched from running Tomcat, the web server that LabKey is deployed under, as a standalone application to something that's actually embedded or bundled with the LabKey build. Part of that was timed so that when we moved to Tomcat 10, which, as Adam mentioned, had some other significant changes that we had to accommodate, it made sense to kind of bundle these, both the upgrade and the embedding at the same time. But one thing that we had noticed with a lot of our on-premise installs is that people weren't staying current with Tomcat hotfixes. They might grab the new version of LabKey and deploy that and get the maintenance release and bug fixes and security fixes and so forth. But they'd stay on whatever version of Tomcat they had when they first deployed. So this is a way to make sure that everyone's staying current there on that, plus some of the other libraries that are also bundled with the LabKey distribution. And also making sure that we're running on a single tested version of Tomcat. Every once in a while, Tomcat will have some sort of issue and compatibility, and we need to either work around that or advise people, wait for the next Tomcat release. This way, you get something that is tested and is going to simplify the upgrade and just have the one thing to manage instead of the two things. SQL Server is a bigger deal, I know, for folks who are using it as their primary database. So we are consolidating for Postgres as our single supported primary database in the future. Right now, we're saying we're not taking on new SQL Server installs, and we're working to build a migration plan in conjunction with customers who are using SQL Server. That's work we'll be taking on in 2025. And this is something where we want to not rock the boat for people unnecessarily, but we're down into single-digit percent of installations around SQL Server. It takes a significant amount of work to fully test and fix deadlocks and things like that on both database platforms. And so that's why we say this is the right time. Kind of the usage percents have flipped, and it makes a lot of sense to go to that single database for primary database support. The benefits are that we can just be more efficient on the LabKey side, which means that you get more features instead of having us maintain this broad set of backend technologies that we support. I should mention no changes whatsoever for using SQL Server as an external data source. So if you're pulling or pushing data from ETLs or things like that, no changes there. This is just for the primary database. And really what I'm most excited about is that there's features that we've wanted to add for a long time. Things like first-class support for JSON as a database column type, that there just wasn't the parity between SQL Server and Postgres where we could do it in a compatible way across the two. This clears the way for us to offer significant new functionality, and that's true whether it's something that's deployed in a LabKey module that you get as part of your build, or if you're writing LabKey SQL or building your own modules to have that richer set of functionality without either a discrepancy between the databases or the lack of a feature on one side or the other. We're working really hard to make cloud a great place to run LabKey. It has been for a long time, and it continues to be really the first spot that I recommend for people taking on a new LabKey installation. We've got 90+% of customers today as they join us are choosing cloud delivery, but we still have a significant on-premise set of deployments, and we're not getting rid of that. No change to our support policy there. That's an important part of our business, and we understand that it's not a simple flip for folks who have invested in that on-premise infrastructure. That said, we've been working with a number of customers for hybrid solutions, so places where people want to adopt LabKey in the cloud, either as a migration of an existing installation or as a brand new install, but to be able to connect to on-premise resources. That might be things like LDAP servers or single sign-on or other things that are only available within your firewall, for example, or things like file shares, things like that. Databases as a source or a target for ETLs, all things that you don't want to expose to the general public on the internet, but you want to be able to integrate with your LabKey installation. So we've continued to work on that. We're working on monitoring and other solutions to help make sure that when we do have these hybrid implementations, that things are working reliably and consistently. We've worked with groups to migrate from on-premise installs. Some folks that have been running it on-premise for 10 years, maybe more. So if you're interested in exploring how this could work for you, if you're on-premise, happy to talk about that. We do have a group, full disclosure, that is interested in moving back because of some compliance changes that have happened within their organization. So it's not a one-way and you're locked in forever. It's something, again, we always want to make sure we're meeting your needs day in and day out. I do want to say that in the future, some new features may be cloud only. Some of the AI or LLM things that Adam mentioned is something that we're exploring. That might be something that could be cloud only, or at least for the first version. Think of things that are perhaps microservice oriented, where it's just a lot easier to be able to do that in a cloud environment and not as easy to replicate that on an on-premise. No plans to remove features or anything like that from on-premise installs. This is really something that we're adding and kind of exploring what services can we leverage maybe in a cloud-only environment that wouldn't be feasible for on-premise folks. So really benefits being reducing IT burden if you're in LabKey Cloud. We're managing all the backups, upgrades, patches, monitoring, things like that. Folks move faster to new versions, get new features faster, get bug fixes faster, get security fixes faster. For things like zero-day vulnerabilities, that's a big deal that we're able to patch, as soon as that build is available. And kind of the potential cloud-only functionality here, things that need substantial infrastructure that we can leverage within the cloud is another compelling reason to consider cloud. We're always worried about quality and making sure that we're providing solutions that work for you. And we're doing a lot of things within our process to keep improving and matching the way that you use the product in the real world, in terms of the environments that it's deployed in. Things like making sure that data scale matches what people are importing, because things that might have worked when we developed it and people had 1,000 rows, 10,000 rows, 100,000 rows of data of whatever type don't necessarily scale without maintenance and refactoring to millions or hundreds of millions of rows. We're specifically looking to integrate with products like Adam's mentioned of Snowflake that are designed for scale, to make sure that we're not going to have customers backed into a corner where, hey, we wanted to leverage this tool, but it just can't handle the scale matching the LabKey side. So making sure that we're being mindful of that as we choose and prioritize integrations. And we just want to get you the updates as fast as you can, as reliably as we can. Better performance for the features that you've got, fewer bugs or faster fixes. Those are all super valuable process things that we're working to optimize day in and day out. And Adam hit on this as well. Everything we're doing, we're looking to be data-driven to make sure that we're actually investing in features and technologies that match the way people are actually adopting our products. For the cloud environment, it's great because we get a lot more context and information back from those installations about performance, errors, things like that. We don't have to reach out and say, hey, could you send us your error log in the context of a support ticket, for example. We can say, hey, we noticed an error was being logged. You didn't even file a ticket. We're already responding to it, investigating a bug fix, helping you understand, oh no, there's a problem with the data input, things like that. For on-premise customers, it's really imperative. Have your usage reporting turned on. I understand concerns about privacy or intellectual property, things like that. I'm happy to follow up with anyone and clarify exactly what we collect and how we use it. We're very mindful that we're not collecting anything about your actual data. We're just understanding your usage of the product. And that would be true for any of the AI or LLM things that Adam mentioned as well. We're not trying to pool or monetize any of your data in any way. Your intellectual property is yours, not LabKey's. And of course, we're doing this, like I said, make sure we're investing in the things that you care about, that you're actually using day in and day out, and that we're getting rid of problems, bottlenecks or performance issues, errors, things like that. We want to do that as quickly as we can and as independently as we can to let you focus on your actual work instead of troubleshooting. And Michael hit on this theme early. We're doing all this because it's things that matter to you and they serve your mission. We're not trying to just take on the latest service or LLM craze. We're looking to make sure it really lines up with how you want to use our products and how we can help you with your work. So we value that input at all points. We want to get that as we can through analytics and things like that. But really, conversations are imperative as well. So please keep all the feedback coming through the client survey, through talking with your account manager, through reaching out to me or other folks. That's just really the only way we figure out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and how we build the right things to serve you.